Ethan, any emails? No. Moses? Oh, Alan, okay. All right. We're going to start talking about some fun stuff. Basically, we're not doing a review of previous accounting stuff anymore, at least in the context of finance. We're going to start chapter 6, interest rates and bond valuation. Today, I'm going to primarily talk about bonds. Uh, Next Monday, we'll do Jeopardy on chapter 3, but next Wednesday, I'm going to cover rest of chapter 6. Other than bond valuation, most of chapter 6 is more about descriptive stuff. So it is a pretty good idea for you to read chapter. There are a lot of definitions. I mean, we will talk about some things like real interest rates, what sort of things determine so-called yield curves, and taxable versus non-taxable bonds. But first and foremost, what is a bond? Anyone has an idea? Have you heard of these things called bonds? Give me an example. What sort of bonds have you heard of? Investment bonds, investing into what? Yeah. And have you heard, for example, something called treasury bonds? What's the purpose of treasury bonds? Why do they even exist? What happens if you buy a treasury bond? What have you actually done? You lent money to the US federal government. Okay. Bonds are securities that represent uh, loans to an issuer. That could be treasury, state governments, companies, even EKU has bonds around. Whenever EKU starts a new construction project, they actually issue bonds. It's kind of closet guaranteed by the state government. Technically, it's not, but people act as if it is, and they finance the initial expenses with that. For example, when you build a new dorm, you issue a bond, you raise funds, you construct a building, then those dorms produce revenue that are then used, hopefully, to pay back the loan. Okay. Uh, Bonds are contracts between an issuer, which is the borrower, and the lenders, typically public. Okay. You may have special issue bonds where you know ahead of time who's going to be the people that are borrowing it. On a technical level, they're not any different from a loan you get from a bank. Let's say you get a so-called signature loan from a bank. That means the only collateral is your signature that you're going to pay it back. It's a contract. It specifies a lot of things. It specifies what's the loan amount, what are the repayment terms. Are you going to make monthly payments, annual payments? Are you going to pay the whole thing as lump sum? What's the interest rate on it? Uh, what are some conditions where you can prepay, if there are conditions on that? What are some conditions if you don't pay in time? What sort of penalties? All sorts of details. And each bond has some properties. The difference between a bond and a bank loan, bonds are securitized loans in a sense. You can divide them into little pieces and sell them in the market. For a loan, if your bank wants to get rid of that loan, they can sell the loan to somebody else, but they don't say, okay, I lent you $100,000. How about I divide that into 100 little pieces and sell $1,000 each? But bonds are like that. If I borrow $1 billion, I can divide them into a million little pieces and call them $1,000 each and sell it to people. So if you wanted to lend money to U.S. government, you don't have to have $1 million. You can do that with $1,000. So each bond has something called face value. This is unit. I shouldn't call it unit. The so-called nominal value for each bond. Okay, each specific bond, and unless I tell you otherwise, these are about $1,000 for almost all U.S. bonds. It just happens to be a convention that has been around for a while. So you're going to have total issue amounts. That's how many bonds times face value. So if the total issue amount is $1 billion, that means I have 1 million bonds worth each $1,000 face value. You're going to have something called uh, coupon rate. That's percentage of face value that is paid as interest every calendar year. I shouldn't say calendar year because technically calendar year is from January 1st to December 31st, uh, every 12 months. So if I say that this is a 10% coupon rate, that means every year, every 12 months, the issuer is going to pay 10% of the face value. So if the face value is $1,000, every 12 months, issuer is going to make a payment of $100. We can immediately calculate annual coupon amount, and that's face value times coupon rate. So $1,000 face value, 4.5% coupon rate. Annual coupon amount is $45. We're gonna have something called coupon frequency. Come on, that's not what I wanted to do.